What's up, guys? This is Ian here, coach of your Ladner Lanturn, bringing you guys our Week 2 Team Builder to take on Ultraplyer, or Josh, and the West Virginia Miniors. It's actually kind of cool. I'm pretty sure, based on what he asked us in the general chat, is what color do you guys want me to be? And we said green, so I'm pretty sure he's green for this league, but I would guess that he's actually got like every single logo for every single version of Minior, which is kind of cool. Just based on what the file was named as well. So let's run through his team really quickly then here. He has Celesteela, Necrozma, Mega Manectric, Zygarde 10%, Primarina, Umbreon, Serena, Blaziken, which is a Z user, Skuntank, which is a Z user, Rhydon, and Porygon Z, which is a Z user as well. He has priority options in Zygarde 10% with Extreme Speed, Umbreon with Sucker Punch, Blaziken with Vacuum Wave, and Skuntank with Sucker Punch. Hazard setting in Necrozma with Rocks and Rhydon with Rocks. Removal options in Serena with Rapid Spin, Blaziken with Defog, and Skuntank with Defog, and 4x weaknesses in Zygarde 10% to Ice, and Rhydon to Grass and Water. As you guys can sort of tell by that, he has poor setting and relatively poor removal in my mind. I think he's either forced to bring Skuntank with a Defog, or run one less move slot on Blaziken, because I'm not expecting Serena or Rhydon to come. I think Rhydon matches up very poorly against my team. Something like Slowking is actually reasonably obvious against him, and I'm not bringing it, but it's reasonably obvious against him. There's no way he's bringing Rhydon against my team. I think Necrozma is coming, and if he's bringing Necrozma, I think it might have to be his rocker. I do have a Dark type to stop the Stored Power set, so I'm not as scared about that. Something like a Swords Dance set could kind of run through me though, so we gotta be careful there. Celesteela, I do think is coming. Again, it's so versatile against me, and he can run like offensive if he wants to, just because of how relatively slow-ish my team is. He can like outspeed Scarfers after Autotomize and things like that. Zygarde 10%, I'm kind of iffy on. Like, it does okay against me, but then I have things like Mamoswine, which absolutely revenge kill it every single time, and I have things like Tangela that switch in every single time against it. Primarina, I think, is probably coming. I don't have great answers to Primarina, and I have a dedicated answer on your screen right now. It's Registeel, and we'll talk about that in a second. Umbreon, I think, is probably coming. It deals with Mega Latios, Psychic Spam. It deals with Slowking. I mean, it's kind of setup fodder for my fighting types, but besides that, I think it's probably okay. That's part of the reason why I drafted 2 fighting types and a fairy as well, by the way, is to deal with the dark types that want to handle my double psychic as well. Serena, I don't think is coming. I think Serena looks like ass against my team. Things like Zapdos just kind of hard wall it, and he can't do anything to Zapdos with Serena, if I'm being completely honest. He could run like a utility set, but then again, Zapdos comes in on it and it roosts over and over and over again. Over and over and over and over and over again. And if I wanted to run a Heat Wave, which I don't, because I'm not even bringing Zapdos, then it would be dead to rights, really. Blaziken is scary, and I think Blaziken's coming. Blaziken is an absolute monster. It deals with about half my team, the other half of my team kind of walls it, so again, I'm iffy on it, but I do think it's coming. Skuntank is a dark type to deal with Mega Latios, and more of an offensive dark type than Umbreon, so it can actually maybe do some damage to Latios. So I think he would bring that. Rhydon, again, I don't think is coming. Porygon Z, I think, is probably coming as well. So there's a wide variety of things. I think I named off like 9 different things I think are coming. Obviously, only 6 of them can. So let's get into my team then. First up is Registeel. Ya boy, thick. Running Rest, Seismic Toss, Stealth Rock, and Sleep Talk. Honestly, Rest Talk with S-Toss and Stealth Rock is just so good. He doesn't have a Ghost type, so he can't stop me from Seismic Tossing his team to death. And it's just really consistent damage on everything. I need this to be a fat special wall for Primarina, and if I don't have recovery against that, then I can't just keep switching in on it. So that's why I'm Rest Talk. Rest Talk obviously will let me get off a bunch of S-Tosses, and this is my dedicated rocker for the week. We're going to get up rocks, hopefully. They don't deal with his team super well, but it's a good chip on a lot of stuff. In fact, I want to say he actually has nothing that's weak to Stealth Rocks on that team. Yeah, he has nothing. He has a resistance in Zygarde and a resistance in Rhydon, but nothing is weak to rocks. So, despite the fact that his hazard removal in my mind is relatively poor, he doesn't have anything weak to rocks anyways, so it doesn't matter that much. Again, it's just good chip. I don't really care if I get rocks on a lot of my Sleep Talks, because in my mind, I'm still eating Primarina's hits relatively well there. So we're fully Spadef, and I didn't really bother. I'm actually going a lot less in depth with this than I did against Monotubby in week 1, just because I don't have. I'm kind of rushing it, so I don't have a ton of time next week, so I need to get my week 2 and my week 3 battles done next week. And so I'm not going to have a lot of time to go super in-depth with EVing and stuff like that, and I figure just Max Spadef is sort of going to help me out better against things like Special Necrozma, things like Mega Manectric anyways, potentially Special Skuntank. I can wall like Special Porygon Z as well with this, and Special Blaziken breaks through me, obviously. Special Celesteela can break through me with Flamethrower, and then his physical threats I'm not really staying in on anyways. Pardon me. What might switch into his physical threats is Tangela. Bringing Tangela for the first time this season with Giga Drain, Toxic, Leech Seed, and Sub. Sub Leech Seed is disgusting, and Tangela makes really good use of that with Regenerator as well, especially piling on Toxic onto the things that want to break my Sub. Problem with that is Celesteela. Celesteela is a big boy problem for this Tangela. I have other ways to deal with it though, and so that is going to be on my list of things to cover with the rest of my team. Physically defensive, I eat hits for days from Zydago. Zydago does not want to click 1,000 arrows against me when I have a Tangle on the field. This also relatively walls the Serena, bar U-turn. I can wall physical Necrozma. This does okay against Skuntank besides the poison moves, and I can wall a Double Dance Rhydon if that's the way that he wants to roll. Physical Blaziken still a problem, and obviously you've seen Special and Physical Blaziken are both a problem against me. Well, I patched that up with the rest of my team here. Giga Drain is there for the recovery. It's my best way to deal with Primarina offensively, I guess you could say, from Tangela's perspective at least. Excuse me. This is also 4 times super effective against the Rhydon. Next up is Rotom-Heat. Running Volt Switch, Overheat, Hidden Power Water, and Pain Split. Hidden Power Water, I actually opted to go with Hidden Power Water over Hidden Power Grass because I'm already hitting Primarina with electric moves, so I don't need the HP Grass for that. And HP Grass wouldn't have been able to hit... what would it not have been able to hit? It wouldn't have been able to hit the Blaziken as hard, and I realized that Blaziken can kind of switch in on me. If he's like AV, he can switch in on Rotom-Heat really well. So Hidden Power Water is going to be able to hit the Blaziken for neutral damage, as well as hitting the Rhydon for 4 times effective coverage, which is what I needed to do there. Volt Switch for momentum, obviously. Volt Switch slash Overheat are my best ways to deal with the Celesteela. And Pain Split's there for recovery over Thunderbolt. I thought about running Thunderbolt, but I was kind of just against it. I needed the recovery, really. It was either Pain Split or Defog, and I think I just end up opting to not bring Defog this week, since Rotom is my only Mon week 2 rocks this week. And he has relatively poor rock setters. Max HP, we're physically defensive. This deals with physical Blaziken. It also hard deals with Serena. Serena can't touch this whatsoever. Physical Celesteela would have to run Stone Edge for me. And like physical Necrozma also has a hard time breaking this. Physical Skuntank. Zydago can break this relatively easily, so can Rhydon, but we'll sort of play that out by ear. We're bringing Air Canada. We're bringing Mega Latios with Psychic, Thunderbolt, Roost, and Toxic. My initial draft of this had Bolt Beam, and then I realized that Ice Beam was really only there for the Serena and the Zygarde, and I decided that Psychic was just going to be a little bit better for me. Ice Beam obviously hits the Rhydon too, but Psychic, and Psychic's not hitting the Skuntank or the Umbreon, but I think it's important to have Psychic to hit the Blaziken and the PZ, potentially the Primarina if it's doing more than Thunderbolt, and as well as the Mega Manectric. I think it's going to be doing more damage to all of those. Roost for recovery, Toxic for that pesky Necrozma, and also for the Umbreon. I'd rather Toxic Umbreon with something like Tangela, but if I can't get away with it, then I'm gonna have to Toxic it with Mega Latios and get Toxics back, unfortunately. I'm running some speed on here. This is actually enough speed to outrun Porygon Z. His speed tiers are super weird. Like, he's got to drop off between Zygarde 10 and Porygon Z, so nothing in between 90 and base 115, which is horrible. It basically gives anything I have in that range the opportunity to run little to no speed. And in this case, I can run Modest on my Mega Lati. I also want to be fat, though, so we're running max HP and only a little bit of special attack investment. We're bringing Mienshao, first time as well for Mienshao. Bringing an interesting set. Shoutouts to Jay for most of the suggestion on this set, actually. Leftovers with Regenerator, so Regen Core coming this week with Tangela and the Mienshao. Sub, Drain Punch, Knockoff, and Toxic. Knockoff is so good against his team. Does so much to everything. Sub is really annoying for him. Like, I can sub on things like Umbreon that aren't going to want to stay in on my Mienshao anyways. Or maybe things like Rhydon that aren't going to want to stay in a Mienshao anyways. And then I get a nice big hit off with Drain Punch, and Leftovers plus Drain Punch recovery should give me enough health back to where I can sub again. Or I can just regenerate out, and then I'll get all the HP that I lost from my sub back anyways. Porygon Z, again, another thing that's not going to want to stay on a Mienshao. Toxic is there for the things that might want to switch in on me. Things like Necrozma, things like Primarina, though maybe like Mega Manectric, but again, if I'm behind a sub, then Intimidate's not working, which is kind of nice. Skuntank is probably not going to want to switch on a Drain Punch regardless anyways. Celesteela is not going to want to take a lot of Drain Punches necessarily, just because it doesn't get like a good recovery option, so wearing it down could be relatively easy this way. Running in a speed for the Porygon Z again. This is a theme here with the last 3 mons. I'm outspeeding Porygon Z with all of them, so I'm not even going to talk about Mimikyu's speed investment because now you know already. Max-ish HP, and then I just pop the rest into attack. So we're relatively fat and speedy and attacking. I think it's going to be a neat Mienshao set. Last but not least is Mimikyu. This is our late game cleaner. We're bringing Z-Splash with Shadow Claw, Shadow Sneak, and Play Rough. This is my bread and butter right here. If you guys have seen me play any games at all, you will know that this is essentially my favorite cleaner set. I ran this at least once, maybe twice in the GBA fan draft when we made top 32. And it looks really good against him, honestly. Like, with enough chip on, Necrozma needs to be chipped, Celesteela needs to be chipped, the Manectric needs to be chipped, Umbreon dies to a +3 player off, so I'm not worried about that. Serena needs to be chipped a little bit, because I can't Shadow Sneak it, obviously. Porygon Z needs to be chipped a little bit, Skuntank needs to be chipped a little bit, and the Rhydon needs to be chipped a little bit. Essentially, Rocks is going to be enough damage for most of those scenarios. And from there, I need Mega Manectric really weakened, and Zygarde. Basically, I need Mega Manectric and Zygarde weakened enough to where Shadow Sneak can pick them off, and then I outspeed the rest of his team. So that's what Mimikyu's job is going to be cleaner. Again, like I said, this is outspeeding PZ. Max attack, a little bit of HP investment, and then the rest is just split between the defenses because of how HP works at level 50. In terms of the rest of my team, Zapdos was definitely on my mind of things to bring. Zapdos actually doesn't look half bad against his team, and it can wall physical Blazekins, paralyze it with static, and then roost on it for days. It walls like special Celesteela, and it can deal with a sub-seed Celesteela as well. He doesn't have a ton of setup, but it could whirlwind it a lot of stuff. It can like switch in on Zygarde 10%, potentially paralyze it. The problem I was having with it is that it can't deal with Umbreon that well. And I don't want it to get toxic against this team. It can't necessarily deal with Rhydon. I'd have to run like coverage for that. PZ can set up like a nasty plot on it. Oh, excuse me. I also don't see him putting a huge priority on getting up rocks against me, so the removal option's not great there either. Mamoswine, another thought that I had, Celesteela switches on it for days. 4 days. It is actually not horrible against this team. Like a Scarf Mamoswine could be okay. Excuse me, but Celesteela switches in every time. So it's just too obnoxious. Slowking, I was also considering. Again, it deals with the Blaziken, which I think is probably a major threat against my team. Can't deal with Mega Manectric, which I think is another major threat against my team. I was actually going to run Assault Vest Mamoswine earlier in the draft, earlier in the building phase, sorry, because it was a good way to deal with Mega Manectric. Unless he ran HP Grass, and then it wasn't a good way to deal with Mega Manectric anymore. Armaldo, I don't know about Armaldo. I'm not sure how much we're going to need Armaldo this season. I might end up dropping it later. It was nice to have the Rock type. It's not a Flying Resist, unfortunately, because it's, you know, Registeel's a good Flying Resist, though, to make up for that. The Bug typing's like, It was kind of just nice to have another Rocker for Registeel and Mamoswine, I guess, really. So I'll probably look into dropping Armaldo because I just don't see Armaldo doing a whole lot on this team necessarily. It could have broken through Necrozma potentially with like X Scissor spam, but it just, you know, Took the fire moves from Blaziken neutrally, couldn't deal with Celesteela, So, oh god, pardon. And then last but not least, Scrafty. Was definitely considering Scrafty. It sets up all day on Umbreon. Primarina destroys it though. It's sad, but it's true. He can run like almost a max speed Primarina, outspeed the Scrafty, and blow it back with Moonblast, or he doesn't even have to run any speed because he's not dying to a Poison Jab, and then he goes with Moonblast. So realistically, Scrafty wasn't the best option here, although his team is like kind of weak to fighting overall. Like Primarina and Necrozma to deal with that, and Scrafty deals with one of those two. I just wasn't feeling it this match, and I felt that Mimikyu sort of put on the pressure a little bit more. So that's going to be it for me, guys, and I will catch you guys for our match against Josh or Ultraplyer and the West Virginia Miniors.